say get down when I say you get down. I say get down when I say you get down. I say get down when I say you get down. I say get down when I say you get down.
What the hell are you looking for? Huh? Can a young nigga get money anymore? And we back. I say get down when I say you get down. I say get down when I say you. I appreciate you for rocking with me. Welcome to another beautiful episode. This is Icons and Ideas presents The World According to KayNellz, and I am yours truly, KayNellz. Now, before we get things kicked off, I have to ask you, thank you for everybody that's been supporting, that's been rocking with me, that's been responding and commenting on the reels and the promo and everything. I'm just getting started. We're going to keep developing this thing and keep growing. I just need a simple favor from you if you could do this for me. I need you to like as you continue to do. I need you to comment and share as you continue to do. And most importantly, hit that subscribe button for me, please. And thank you. So this is episode 4 of The World According to KayNellz. And as always, we got some wonderful topics for you. We got some things that we're going to discuss, some things we're going to unpack. We're going to have a little fun as we always do. So let's get it kicked off. Now, we talked about Kendrick Lamar getting the Super Bowl performance and all of the uproar that he created. He continues to be the boogeyman. What do I mean by that? So he releases a song on IG. Not only do he release the song on IG, he released it on IG during the VMAs. He got more viewership in 30 minutes on the song that he released on IG than the VMAs got for the duration of the ceremony on yesterday. Listen, he is the real deal boogeyman. You can knock it if you want to, but he has allure. He has appeal. He's able to connect with the people on a level that make every single drop that he do worth the price of admission. And the people continue to support him. So he dropped the record after in the Super Bowl ad taking a little jab at Drake saying, ain't no round twos. Because Drake kind of implied that, it's going to be a round 2 via Insta. With that, he dropped the song. And in the opening verses of the song, he definitely takes some shots at Drake. Now, this is not going to spawn a round 2 in my personal opinion. I think it's water under the bridge. But Kendrick is so calculated, you can't take anything off the table. So he playing backgammon. Forget 3D chess. He playing AlphaGo while we playing checkers. He's just so many steps ahead of the competition. He's so many steps ahead of everybody in the way he's executing right now at the highest level. I was talking to the homie too. Salute to the homie too. He like, yo, Kendrick on a generational run. We may never see a run like this again. And I have to agree with him. Kendrick did something very simple but very strategic. In the song, he gave a shout out to Lecrae. And he gave a shout out to Dee-1. Now, why am I mentioning that? Well, with Lecrae, it was a recent interview that was circulating, again, which shows that Kendrick thumb is always on the pulse. Because in this interview, Lecrae was talking about the difference between Drake and Kendrick while giving props to both men. He said Drake is a phenomenal artist. Ghostwriting aside, he is a phenomenal artist. But Drake is an admirer of the culture. He's a fan of the culture. Kendrick is a product of the culture. Now, of course, that statement generated ire and polarization as it always do. But people, I always talk about the initiated versus the uninitiated. Those of us in hip hop and rap music that's initiated, we understood exactly the context that Lecrae was talking in. But for the casual fan and for a lot of the listeners of the people that like Drake, they didn't understand the depth of that comment, of what he was saying. It doesn't take anything away from Drake's ability to make popular music, because that's what Drake do, and he's proven himself to be one of the greatest at making popular music. But what we talking about is a genuine connection. I'm going to create the parallel between a comment that Denzel Washington made when they was on the press run for Fences. In that press run, Denzel Washington talked about the difference between having a connection to the culture and being embedded in the culture versus just being an admirer from the outside.
So why did he need a black director? Could a white director not have?
It's not color, it's culture.
Explain the difference, because I think we're in
Steven
a space
Spielberg
right
did Schindler's List.
Mm-hmm.
Martin Scorsese did Goodfellas. Steven Spielberg could direct Goodfellas. Martin Scorsese probably could have done a good job with Schindler's List. But they're cultural differences. You know, I know, you know, we all know what it is when a hot comb hits your hair on a Sunday morning, what it smells like.
Huh?
That's a cultural difference, not just a color difference.
Right.
So it's a culture.
Right? Now, he talked about Martin Scorsese. He talked about Steven Spielberg. He said Martin Scorsese definitely could have made Schindler's List and did a good job. And Steven Spielberg definitely could have made the mafia movies that Scorsese is known for and did a great job. But it's a certain level of culture and the understanding of that culture that allows you to permeate in the way that you direct and bring this art to life. So now when you're talking about fences, we as black people, when he addressed the people that was on the panel with him, he said, we know what a hot comb sound like and smells like going through the hair on a Sunday morning, because that's the connection that we have to the culture. That's the difference. So I want to use that as a metaphor, as a parallel to what Lecrae was talking about when he, talked about Kendrick versus Drake. Drake can definitely can be Scorsese making Schindler's List. But there's a level of authenticity that comes when you have that inherent connection to the culture. And that's the difference. As phenomenal as an artist as Drake is a fan of the culture. Kendrick, however, is the embodiment of the culture. He's a product of the culture. So there's a connection that he have that no matter how much Drake tries, he just is disconnected from that point. And nothing made that point more glaring than the back and forth between him and Kendrick when they had the beef earlier this year. Again, I don't make the rules. I just play the game. I'm a hip hop artist myself. But at this point, in this character, in this phase that I'm in now, I'm speaking solely as a fan. I'm speaking as an observer of hip hop, of the music genre that I love and that I participate in. And as a fan, it was so many missteps that only a person that's disconnected from the culture would make in a beef with somebody like Kendrick. If Drake was really if he was really in tune, because we talking about battle now. So all of that popularity stuff is cool when you're just talking about making music. But when you're talking about a battle, it's a different monster. So you got to know how to make certain things translate. And Kendrick just executed at a high level. So he even brought up Lecrae. Just, again, I have to highlight, showing that his thumb is on the pulse of the culture. That interview is recent. And to be able to tie it in the current event, it keeps everything fresh. And then he mentioned Dee-1. For those of you that's unfamiliar with Dee-1, check out his music. He became popular off of controversy because he's a clean-cut Christian rapper. And he leads with his Christian faith. Salute to everybody that's doing the Christian rap, that's leading their life in Christianity and all of that. Again, salute to you. But in this case, Dee-1 faced criticism because he began to speak out. He been doing a lot. Let me give it proper context. Dee-1 has been doing a lot of things in the community. He has always been a part of the community. I mean, dedicating his time, energy, and effort to better the communities that we grow up in as Black people in America. So he's really in the field when it comes to being an advocate for change and being an activist for change. So if anybody has the bandwidth to make such criticisms, I have to say it's him. So he criticized people like Jim Jones and a few others. That's what brought him to the forefront of quote unquote hip hop media because of the controversy. But what he was saying was true. It was honest and sincere. He like, how long are we going to continue to peddle death to the people that listen to our music and destroy our communities through the music that we make and perpetuate the stigmas through the music and the art that we create and make money essentially raping the culture? And it's such a harsh narrative for people and for hip hop to accept, because that's a responsibility and that's a conversation that we're always having in hip hop. You have the people that control hip hop on one end, and then you have the players that's involved. Now, when you know hip hop, how I know hip hop, when you know rap business, how I know rap business, you understand that there is a controlling interest that's only peddling that death and destruction. They're only pressing the button on that death and destruction. So when you have positive artists like Dee-1 with a powerful message in their music, that stuff get pushed to the side. And it's not a new phenomenon. Because Jay told y'all way back when, truthfully, I want to rhyme like common sense, but I sold 5 mil and I ain't been rhyming like common sense. When your sense got that much in common and you've been hustling since, your inception perception go with what makes sense. And since I know what I'm up against, we as rappers must decide what's most important. But I can't help the poor if I'm one of them. So I got rich and gave back. To me, that's the win-win. So this is a dynamic that has been prevalent in hip hop really since the turn in the 90s. Because we all know about the conspiracy dinner that took place, this conspiracy gathering, I'll call it, that took place, that allegedly the powers that be in music and entertainment came together and say, we have to use this to feed the business of prisons and feed the business of the corrections of America and feed the business of degeneracy because we know those things make money. So now you have the school to prison pipeline. Now you have all of these other narratives. Now you have the subjugation of black communities. Now you have liquor stores on every corner in black communities, check cashing spots on every store in black communities, but you don't have real resources. Again, it's a reason why they call a project a project. So Kendrick mentioned, not only did he mention Lecrae, he mentioned Dee-1, kind of giving a shout out and tipping his hat to both of those gentlemen. Again, he's very strategic. In some of the records, the record that he released did have some religious undertones, and he was really taking a stab at the hip hop community in general, at the business of music that we talked about. Again, I believe it was episode 2. I was talking about how do we delineate between hip hop and the music business, because referencing the conversation that Umar had on the podcast, where he was talking to the gentleman, and the gentleman said, hip hop is the culture. Nobody can own the culture. And Umar called BS and said that's semantics because Jewish people own the culture. So again, making two very good points, but how do you delineate? And so obviously that's a conversation that's remaining consistent. Salute to K-Dot, continue to apply pressure, continue to make very authentic, very timeless music, continue to not compromise yourself, continue to have a message, continue to build on those things that means the most. Because we've been being depleted as the consumers of music with TV dinners, with very microwavable food. And now we got somebody that's preparing a full course meal of some stuff that stick to your ribs like your granny used to make with real recipes in it. And it's truly nourishment for the soul. So shout out to Kendrick, shout out to Lecrae, shout out to Dee-1. And we're going to see what the rest of the year have in store. Because Kendrick is stepping on next. And I gotta, before I move on, the black Air Force Ones for the cover art for the record is crazy. Because when you see somebody with some crash Air Force Ones, some black joints, you know they are up to the highest order of nefarious activities. We not playing. Whenever I'm out, if I see black Air Force Ones, I'm on point. Head is on the swivel. You can't play no games. Because if you rocking, and I'm talking about not crispy joints, I'm talking about crash joints with creases, the laces tied up real tight. You see that type of action, villainous, running the opposite direction. But salute, we're going to keep it rocking. All right, so let's talk about DJ Akademiks. I ain't even going to front. The level of disdain that I have for DJ Akademiks is unhealthy, and I'm working on it because, as I always say, the laws of thermodynamics say energy can neither be created nor destroyed but transferred. And it is truly wasteless energy to have the level of animosity I have for DJ Akademiks. But it's not DJ Akademiks, the person, that I have an issue with. It's just what he represents. He is, by definition, a vulture of the culture. Him, Vlad, and so many others that is just taking hip-hop and raping it for popularity, for likes, for engagements, and in content. It's so many things that you could do to talk about the culture and highlight the culture in a way that uplifts the culture. But instead, they only want to highlight and talk about the most vile and insidious parts of the hip hop culture. So that's where my animus for Akademiks stem from. But nonetheless, obviously, in true form, as a representative and as like a side mouthpiece, pause for Drake. He was glazing per his usual. He was right on brand. Since Kendrick dropped, DJ Akademiks have been on the all out. I have to justify and explain and be a representative for Team Drizzy. And it's one thing to talk about it in a way, again, to uplift, to cover. If you want to consider yourself hip hop media, to cover it in a way that brings real authenticity, but it's not in them, because you can't. If it's not in you, it's not in you. And I have to echo the sentiments of Nipsey. Rest in peace, Nipsey Hussle. When he was talking about Akademiks, he was like, it's just something about what he represents that's just so counterproductive to the overall welfare of hip hop. And like he said, we really need to start putting hands on. We don't want to harm them in a way that's, I mean, no, I'm not advocating for anybody life being taken, anything like that. But tough love is real. Shout out to Kendrick. Somebody need tighten up DJ Akademiks, because he just be doing the most. He crazy, wild out of pocket. So, of course, he's coming to the defense of Drake. I don't have a problem with him coming to the defense of Drake. It's just the how in which he want to talk about Drake and versus Kendrick. And he tried to draw the parallel of what he called the hypocrisy of Kendrick Lamar, because at one point, he said Kendrick boycotted the NFL, and then now he's in the Super Bowl, performing at the Super Bowl, and that's hypocritical. And he was saying that, Kendrick was flip-flopping and using that to basically run a false narrative. Again, as always, we have content. Allow me to give some context. Let's go back to 2017. Colin Kaepernick, him kneeling during the national anthem, caused a lot of controversy, because Colin Kaepernick said, with the police brutality that's going on and with the things that's going on in this country, I don't feel confident and comfortable as a black man to stand and acknowledge the flag with the honor that everybody else do. And I echo a similar sentiment, because the first time I ever got suspended in school, in elementary school, is because I wouldn't stand for the flag. Or I should say, the first time I got in trouble is because I wouldn't stand for the flag. And I never stand for the flag. I never pledge of allegiance when I was in school, because I'm cut from that cloth. I was raised by a family that were very diligent about keeping me aware of social issues and the things that impact us most as a community, and how to use our voice and stand on integrity. So that's always been me. So similarly, Colin Kaepernick took that position, and we know what happened to fall out from that. Now, Colin Kaepernick then sued the NFL and won, because he was able to prove that the NFL and the ownership colluded to keep him off the NFL roster. He was still in the prime of his career, and they robbed him of that prime because he just wanted to stand on his convictions. Now, I have to admit, for every action, there's an equal and opposite reaction. So when he did what he did, he being Colin Kaepernick, obviously there was going to be some recourse. Before you make a decision like that, when you decide to stand on your convictions, you got to stand on that. And then you got to live with whatever consequences that come with that. So Colin Kaepernick stood on that, but he had to live with the consequences that came with it. Colin Kaepernick won his lawsuit because he was able to prove the collusion between the ownership. And they paid him what they owed him, what he would have made being on the active roster anyway. They didn't do him any favors. So now people use that part of the narrative to kind of flip the script and say, oh, he got paid off. He didn't get paid off. He got what was rightfully his. There's a big difference. So I'll personalize it in talking about myself. I boycotted the NFL. I didn't watch any NFL games for years, literally. And I mentioned that already in a previous episode. Like it literally last year was the first time I started like really following football again. And I have to admit, that's only because my Baltimore Ravens and Lamar Jackson was turned up. And Baltimore Ravens is near and dear to my heart. But I have to step aside. Again, that's me being a fan of the sport. And I have to recognize, above being a fan of the sport, I have a commitment to my community and the things that impact us and affect us most. So I align with Kaepernick, and Kendrick did the same. Fast forward to where we are now. He doing the Super Bowl halftime. Two things can exist simultaneously. Kendrick can still be aligned with Colin Kaepernick. And I'm not saying, I don't want to sound like I'm speaking for Kendrick, because he is his own man. He can still be aligned with Kaepernick, and still be involved in the social issues that affect us most, and still be the artist that he is, and still create the avenues that he create. But again, typical glazing. The one thing, media is powerful. Propaganda is powerful. And so propaganda is always a tool used for control. And the people that control propaganda control the narrative. And if you control the narrative, you control people's perception. And if you can control people's perception, you effectively control how they view the world in people's worldview. So what we see on display, the reason why I feel like people like DJ Akademiks and others are very dangerous is because they do a great job of manipulating the perception of their audience to paint narratives, to feed things. It's negative. The energy is so vile and negative that is counterproductive to the overall welfare of hip hop culture. We're trying to build, again, this is 50 years of hip hop. What does the next 50 years of hip hop look like? We can't allow people like Akademiks and Vlad and No Jumper and all of those people to control the narratives of the next 50 years of hip hop. We, and by we, I mean people that's products of the culture and not just bystanders and not just tethers and not just leeches. We that's products of the culture, we have to do everything to preserve it. And part of that preservation is holding those ones that's outside of the culture accountable and making sure we keep them at bay. The problem is, unfortunately, Akademiks already have a platform that's too large, and his little minions is going to follow and hold on to his every word. Unfortunately, No Jumper has a platform already that's too large, and his little minions is going to follow. Same with Vlad. I wish we would just stop watching these guys. As soon as we see something that have anything to do with them, just turn that shit off, man. Just turn it off. Don't give them the views. Don't give them the clicks. As a matter of fact, I've already been talking about them too much. It is what it is. We're going to preserve the culture. That's our responsibility. So we're going to do that. Hey, let's talk about my man Flav. Hey, yo, one thing I have to start off like this. It warms my heart to no end to see the legends of hip hop grow old gracefully, enjoy their lives gracefully and peacefully. I gotta salute all the legends of hip hop out there that's still living, man, that's still thriving, that's still setting the example. When you know the environments that we come from, when you know the margin for error being so slim in the environments that we come from, in the projects of America that we come from, it's always good. It's always great, actually, to see people transcend that and create a quality of life representative of what you would want for yourself. Because ultimately, when we peel back the layers, we really all want the same thing, and that's to really be able to grow, be able to live, learn, take care of our family, and live an exemplary lifestyle. Flavor Flav is doing that, so I got to tip my hat. I want to give Flavor Flav his flowers. If y'all followed the Olympics, Flavor Flav was a presence at the Olympics like no other. It was refreshing to see. Obviously, we know Flavor Flav of the historic Public Enemy kind of pivoted, entered into, he's really a pioneer of the reality TV show space. One of the pioneers. He's not the only one, but he's one of the pioneers of the reality TV show space, going back to Strange Love, even before the Flavor of Love. You know what I mean? Did the Flavor of Love. And he was able to take that brand and build upon that and still be a presence. So I got to tip my hat to him. And now he's just happy, man. Every time you see him, it was a video footage of him that went viral. He on a Southwest flight, passing out snacks with the flight attendants and stuff. Man, that's what it's about. Just living life, being happy, enjoying, being present in the moment, because nothing is more powerful and impactful than that moment that you're in. If you was watching the Olympics, you know, one of the young ladies, I believe she do shot put. She do something in track and field. And my apologies for not knowing. I should know exactly what she did. Forgive me. But, you know, she had made mention, you know, she out there putting on for the country, and she ain't even making enough to cover her bills back home. And Flavor Flav said, hold my clock. I got you, sweetheart. Let me go ahead and, you know, I got you. And then when he did it, because energy can neither be created nor destroyed but transferred, that good energy, that positive energy, he went ahead and covered her for her time while she was in the Olympics for that month. And then somebody else stepped up and said, you ain't got to worry about nothing for the rest of the year, and pay her bills for the rest of the year. That's the type of advocacy I'm talking about. That's how I want my legends to be getting down. When we're talking about the preservation of hip hop, When we talking about what do the next 10 years look like, 20 years, 50 years of hip hop look like, we talking about our legends being able to reach back and pull up to be examples. Because the greatest thing that you could be is an example. Remember, that's the reason why I call this icons and ideas. Will Smith said in his press run for The Pursuit of Happiness, he said, I don't want to be an icon, I want to be an idea. Right? And that's what I'm talking about. Salute the Flavor Flav. He ain't stopped there. Jordan Chiles, I believe she won the bronze medal. He said, look, Jordan, I got you. I'm going to go ahead and get you a bronze clock. That's my word. You're going to have the Flavor Flav, the signature Flavor Flav clock. It's going to be bronzed out, though. He delivered on that. He tweeted about it and delivered on that. I believe it was at the VMAs, actually. He was able to present it to her and put the bronze clock on Jordan Chiles. Again, man, I got to salute Flavor Flav. I want to give you your flowers while you here, while you can smell them, while you can enjoy them. My friend, you deserve it. I appreciate everything that you represent. I appreciate your contribution to hip hop. And I appreciate you continuing to contribute and be an example for all the most positive qualities of the culture. Salute the Flavor Flav. Yeah, so let's talk about Unc and Ocho. Obviously, I touched on it a little bit in the last episode, man. I was just really disappointed in how Uncle Uncle Shannon Sharp handled the issue that he had with Ocho and what he perceived as unprofessionalism. Because it's a way to do everything. It's a time and place for everything. And we have to be tactful in how we interact with one another. And I felt like Unc didn't possess a level of tact at all. And he just kind of lambasted Ocho in a way that was distasteful. And as fate would have it, because the universe will surely humble us all, Unc had a situation where, you know, he was doing this thing. Hip boxing, you know what I mean, getting it in with a young lady. Apparently her name is Michelle, allegedly. And he made a mistake and went on IG Live in the middle of the act. My man was clapping cheeks unapologetically. Went on IG Live in the middle of the act. Didn't see anything, but you just heard the soundtrack to some hip boxing and some love making that was going on. And obviously, he was embarrassed, all of those things. But in true fashion, in this area of content creation that we're in, you have to capitalize off every moment. And Unc is a consummate professional in that regard. So he was going to be sure to capitalize off this moment. And he and Ocho went live that night. And in it, he was just talking about, yo, I just had to keep it real. He called all of the brands and stuff that he represent and that he worked with, apologized, let him know exactly what happened. But I know it's not going to be major fallout, but it will be a little fallout. Everybody remember what happened with Paul Pierce? Paul Pierce having a good time. He's a grown man, celebrating, had some young ladies. He went live on IG. There was some twerking going on, you know, some spirits in the air, drinking, all of that good stuff, doing what grown folks do. And Paul Pierce was effectively fired right after that. And so I said, listen, Paul Pierce ran so Shannon Sharp could fly. Because my man took it to a next level. He said, Paul Pierce, I see you live with the shorties twerking and I raise you some love making. And now we seeing what's going to become of that. But I was pleased because Ocho kind of got to rub it in Shannon Sharp's face a little bit. Like, you was talking all of that shit about professionalism and look at you. Let me take a moment to just be a little bit more serious and candid. There is a lesson in everything. In this one, karma has everybody addressed. The reason why I say that is because you have to be mindful of how we treat each other in this human experience, because you're never going to know when it's going to come full circle. That's why it's important to give everybody grace. And I felt like Shannon Sharp didn't give Ocho any grace at all, any level of understanding. And he was hell-bent on proving, you got to be professional. You got to be professional. Yes, but we're still humans, and this is still the human experience. And sometimes things happen. And guess what? That's okay, even for professionals. So for this to happen, Ocho got a chance to poke fun and all of that, but at the end of the day, Ocho still extended a level of grace to Shannon Sharpe that Shannon Sharpe was unable to extend to him in similar circumstances, regardless of what transpired. So that's why it's extremely important, very important, that we extend grace to one another, man. I know it's difficult, but listen, at the end of the day, all of us deserve some grace. Keep your social media together, man. Keep yourself intact. I know you are OG. I know you old. Technology don't come as easy to you, but you kind of got to go through a whole lot to open up the Instagram app, go live, and then, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know how that happened, but as fate would have it, like I said, some things are inexplicable. And this is one of those things. So it's a lesson in it for everybody. Hopefully your career don't suffer. I don't think it should. I don't think it should be any real recourse. I don't think you should be fired or anything like that. Hopefully none of that happens because, again, life happens, mistakes happen. You were honest about it. You were forthcoming. And I know you're going to do everything so it don't happen again. But for now, we're going to get these jokes off. So if you want to laugh, man, Twitter went crazy with the content because, you know, Unc be talking about them blue pills. He be talking about them diamond pills all the time. They say, what Bernie Mac say, sex ain't number 50 pumps. Count them if you ain't got nothing to do. My man Unc was in that thing for 35 pumps, a minute and 27 seconds exactly. Hey, he was talking crazy too. Hey, yo, salute the Unc. We got to be able to laugh at ourselves. And as a matter of fact, I want to take a step back. I want to give you your flowers for that, Unc, because even still in it, you possess a level of humility that allowed yourself to laugh at yourself. And that's important because sometimes we take ourselves too seriously. We only get one chance at this life and only one chance to do it. And sometimes you just got to relax, live, and let live. So, I mean, as funny as it is, you just got to hold this L for now. But this is a good L to hold. You know what I mean? You was clapping cheeks, especially given all the allegations. People saying you with the little man purse hopping out for the shade by La Portier or whatever. You know what I mean? You going to the liquor store, you doing your promotions. You was looking crazy out here. You know what I mean? Sweatpants was so tight, I could see the year on the quarter in your pocket. With the satchel on, it was the whole ensemble was crazy. So, you know, now you could beat the allegations. You feel me? He was clapping cheeks. It's all good. Salute the own. Let's talk about Lil Tay. I don't know if everybody remember Lil Tay. Lil Tay went viral some years back. She was the little Asian girl with the money and all of that. Typical caricature, right? I hate to sound self-righteous, forgive me, but sometimes there's nothing that we love and promote more as a culture than other people outside of our culture partaking of our culture in a way that it's kind of like suspect. It's exploitation for real. Little Asian girl bopping the hip-hop music, money phones to her ear and all of that, and we ate it up. We made her overnight celebrity. Little did we know the circumstances with her will unfold. There's so much controversy surrounding. We don't know what's going on. It was at one point she was reportedly dead. Then it came out she wasn't dead. Her parents were holding her against her will. It was so much crazy stuff going on. So why am I talking about her now? Well, apparently, news was just shared via social media that she has a life-threatening tumor and that her life is actually in danger. Now, I'm gonna have to be honest with you. This is uncorroborated, so I don't know how factual this is. And given, you know, how much controversy and crazy nonsense was shrouded around her and her family, who knows? This could be another hoax, or it could be dead serious. It could be a life-threatening situation. We don't know, but what we do know is she just released, or somebody just released, that they discovered a tumor that's very dangerous and very threatening towards her life. So if this is true, then I definitely want to extend some love. I definitely want to extend some healing. Hopefully, you know, again, the universe works out everything exactly the way it's supposed to. And if it's not, if this is another hoax, them people need some prayer, man. They need some divine intervention or something because they got a lot going on over there. So I will hope it's the former and not the latter. And I don't even want to say that because I don't want to hope that she got a life-threatening tumor. But I want to say I just hope she's being honest. I hope they're being honest and whatever's going on, and not just trying to maximize a moment for clicks, likes, engagement, or whatever, because there's so many other honest and integral ways that you can get engagement and clicks and likes. It doesn't have to be all of the incendiary, crazy stuff that typically goes viral on social media. So I just wanted to kind of touch on that a little bit. Hopefully, I want to extend recovery if it is in fact true, and if it's not, I want to extend swift kicking ass, because y'all crazy. So for sure, I gotta talk about your favorite cross-dressing granny. No, I'm playing. No, I'm tweaking. Yo, Tyler Perry just released a trailer for a new Netflix series that he have. And I'm going to go ahead and preface this again, because I'm going to keep it real. I'm going to be honest and transparent. I'm not a Tyler Perry fan. But on the flip side to that, I can honestly say I don't think Tyler Perry is making movies or series or anything else for a 35-year-old black man. I just don't think that's his core demographic. We just residual. If he catch some of us, cool. But yeah, he just released a trailer, and if you ask me, I call it like how do I want to classify it? It's like Diet P-Valley meets Great Value Scandal meets off-brand How to Get Away with Murder. I'm gonna put it. That's how I'm gonna classify it. Just off the trailer alone, it looked like it's about to be some BS. But the beauty of Tyler Perry and what he creates is very few people that know their audience like Tyler Perry knows his audience. And my man got the hits to prove it. Because some of the stuff that I be watching, I be like, yo, this is wild trash. But he get greenlit for it. But he's still able to put it out. He's still able to get the viewership. He's still able to build his brand. I will never, ever knock the hustle. Tyler Perry ain't going to let me knock the hustle. He don't really care about me. He going to keep doing his thing, making his bread, building his empire. Salute to him for that. But I got to look at it and say, if it's trash, it's trash. And a lot of this stuff be lacking real substance. The issue that I have with a lot of the content is it be some real, again, microwavable, instant, just add water type. It don't be that home cooked meal from scratch. It don't be that love, you know what I mean? That thing, that connection. And I think that's very important. Artists to comfort the disturbed and disturb the comfortable. So you really want to be able to connect, use your art to be able to connect. Not only just I always say, stay away from the low-hanging fruit. That's easy. We continue to see consistent narratives and consistent depictions of black people, and it just be the low-hanging fruit. And then the version of the complex stuff that they do, it just start to really look like the same thing over and over again. So I on one end, I say I can't knock it because I understand that Tyler Perry does a lot with his studio and stuff like that to give opportunities to people who otherwise, I ain't gonna say they wouldn't have the opportunities, but it helps streamline them. He do a lot for a lot of people. I have to recognize that. But at the same time, I don't think nobody is above reproach. I don't think nobody is above accountability. And so as a consumer, as someone with an opinion, and that's all it is. I'm not going to try to paint it as anything more. It's just an opinion. I feel like I have a duty to hold him accountable. So hopefully this series is good. I don't have high expectations for it, but hopefully it is well written, well crafted, not just the typical Tyler Perry BS. And y'all know what I'm talking about when I say the typical Tyler Perry BS, because he be real cut, copy, paste. And then would be really crazy. Son will say something like, I wrote the whole joint in 4 days, and I'd be like, I can tell. like it looks like it. It sounds like it. The narratives, it kind of look like 4 days, my dream. I'm just saying. But again, do your thing, 21. Do your thing. I ain't gonna knock your hustle. You know what I mean? You got your brand. You got a whole empire. I'm just somebody with a camera, a microphone, sharing my perspective. This is the world according to KayNellz. So I got to give you the world according to KayNellz. Moving right along. We're going to finish up talking about the debate. As we all know, when it comes to Donald Trump, you really don't know what he's going to say. He's a loose cannon. Son is going to make up the most fantastical stuff. He's going to say the most outlandish stuff, outrageous stuff. And you know what's the craziest thing that has unfolded since the debate? They are mad at the moderators for being biased towards Kamala. Duh. If the debate was on Fox, guess who the moderators will be biased to? Trump. It just is what it is. It's home and away games. Let's keep with the sports narrative. Let's keep with the sports analogy. The home team always get a little love from the refs. That's just the reality. The shining star, the Tom Brady, the Patrick Mahomes, they always get a little love from the refs. We just seen it for generations, right? This is no different. So this was the home game for Kamala. So of course I expected there to be a little bias. But again, going back to what I said before, the people that are for Donald Trump are not going to change their opinion based on the bias of the moderators. And the people that are for Kamala is not going to change their opinion and perspective because of the moderators. So it's really a moot point. It washes each other out. But the craziest thing that come out of this narrative, Trump got hell bent on this whole people pets being eaten by Haitians. So he showed his xenophobia throughout. This is not again going all the way back to 2016. Son don't have a problem with talking about anybody that's not white Anglo male. He be talking crazy. And so now it's the Haitians people turn. It was he called the African country shithole countries, right? He was throwing paper towels at Puerto Ricans and they Americans. He was literally throwing the paper towels in the midst of a disaster, in the midst of a natural disaster. Son has no regard for nothing. I mean, he was playing hot potato with the paper towels, just the bounty, just no look passes like Magic Johnson in '87. You know what I mean? Again, he is equal opportunity with his insults. And like I said, it was the Haitian people turn. But as always with content, I got to give you context. The most amazing thing is people are really taking this narrative, and I'm seeing TikToks and everything. People are like, oh, y'all don't understand. They cut their heads off our pets. And it's the most outlandish thing that I heard of, especially with a nation where one of the biggest CO2 emissions is from the farming of cattle. We literally slaughter cows for food, and that's humane. Cats and dogs is where we're going to draw the line. Follow with me, walk with me. There's so many other nations around the world where the animals that we call pets are delicacies to people. That's no secret. You got people in West Virginia eating each other. You ain't talking about them, though. My bad. I don't want West Virginia. I don't want no smoke. I saw the hills have eyes. Let me go ahead. I'm going to backtrack that. We good. I don't want. Forget I said that. But in all seriousness, though, to make these allegations and blame it on voodoo and blame it on Haitian ritual and literally blame Haitian immigrants, saying it's Haitian immigrants in a town in Ohio that's killing people pets for sacrifices and stuff like that. What does that have to do with the price of tea in China? Even if it was true, and all reports have came out that these are baseless allegations, even if it was true, what are we talking about? So now we turning our animus towards Haitian immigrants. At first, it was all the people south of the border, and we got immigrants coming over. We have a whole immigrant crisis. The hypocrisy of a nation built by immigrants having an issue with immigrants. Oh my God. And most of them are coming back to reclaim their natives. A lot of them are coming over are natives. Donald Trump himself is an immigrant. He's the son of immigrants. Like most Anglo people that came over here, they're immigrants. They've been able to build their lives and their wealth and livelihood and then thumb their nose at everybody else that's looking to do the same and then create narratives. The media is a very, very powerful tool. If you don't listen to anything else I say, understand this. One of the biggest tools that we have for control modern day is propaganda. America has known how powerful propaganda is now for over 100 years. Let me put y'all on game with a gentleman named Edward Bernays. Edward Bernays is the father of modern propaganda. He's the nephew of Sigmund Freud. Edward Bernays coined the term public relation. You want to know why he coined the term public relation? Because he didn't want to call it propaganda, because Hitler had a minister of propaganda, and so there was a negative connotation to the word. So instead of calling it propaganda, he said, let's call it public relations. It got a nice ring to it. And hence, a whole sector of advertisement was born. And now, even present day, we still use what term? Public relations. Translation, propaganda. Translation, manipulation of perspective, because that's what it is. And so the media has been a tool used for over 100 years to control the minds and perceptions of people. America fights several wars simultaneously. And you want to know one of the biggest wars they fight first? They fight the war of public opinion. Because if you can control the public narrative, then you create minions that's willing to do and move at your beck and call. And Donald Trump, thus far, has done a great job of controlling the narrative. You have the other side, Kamala and the DNC and everybody involved. They've done a great job of creating these narratives, and all they do is create polarization. And so they was talking about January 6th, because January 6th was a big, you got to really understand what took place on January 6th. These people really stormed the Capitol. You had people getting killed in protests for the wrongful murder of black people. And these folk was able to storm the Capitol. So we already know the types of disparities that exist. But to turn your animus out of, and it was just out of nowhere. Son just kept repeating and talking about quote unquote Haitian immigrants that's a threat to people's pets. It's the most nonsensical thing I heard, but what do you expect? I don't expect anything. Trump has proven himself to be morally bankrupt. So I don't expect anything of integrity to come from him. So this is part of course. Like I say, he's right on brand. The issue is, remember what I said about propaganda? He have a whole army of people that's taking his word and weight in gold and really believing in now perpetuating these narratives. It's the craziest thing ever. But that's why we have to be mindful. Remember what I said. For those of you who haven't, I do a segment with my mom called The Commute with Mom Dukes, where we talk about a host of topics. And in there, I shared something that we all need to be aware of. There was a study done to prove that an informed minority will always control an uninformed majority. And they did that by creating this game called Werewolf. And with this game, somebody is designated as the werewolf. You have a study group of people and somebody is designated as the werewolf. And that person that's designated as a werewolf, then objective is to kill somebody, metaphorically, not literally, right? It's a game. And the rest of the participants of this game have to figure out who the werewolf is. And more often than not, when they run this test and when they play this game, the werewolf is able to kill all the participants before he's identified or he or she is identified as a werewolf. It is evident that an informed minority will always be able to rule, control, and manipulate an uninformed majority. And I've never seen a more relevant depiction of that than what we have with the political pundits that we watched in the debate. You have an informed minority and you have an uninformed majority, and everybody is puppets on a string being played. And whether you're right wing or left wing, guess what? I got some news for you. You're a part of the same bird. I'm going to go ahead and end it right there. With that being said, the laws of thermodynamics say energy can neither be created nor destroyed, but transferred. If you got good energy, guess what? I need it. If you need good energy, guess what? I got it. This has been another episode of Icons and Ideas presents The World According to KayNellz. Remember what I told you. You can choose to be a thermostat or a thermometer. Thermometer can only tell you the temperature of the room. The thermostat can change the climate. We're going to master the room. Every room we in, we're going to master the room. Don't forget to like, subscribe, comment, share. Continue to follow me on this journey. Everything is at KayNellz. Everything is at KayNellz, KayNellz. I appreciate you in advance. I say get down when I say you get down. I say get down when I say you. What the hell are you? Till next time, baby. Chill.
I get down when I say you get down. I say get down when I say you get down. I say get down when I say you get down. I say get down when I say you get down.
What the hell are you looking for? Can a young nigga get money anymore? Let my pants sag down to the floor.